everybody. Welcome back to my channel. As we can see, today I have a bit of a different setup than normal. I figured I wanted to spend some time this evening doing one of my favorite hobbies. As you can see, this is a paint by number, paint by number, paint by number. I first got into doing these at the beginning of the pandemic, back in early 2021. During that time, I realized that I didn't really have a hobby that I liked doing at home. I was, before the pandemic, doing more external things with my time. And then when we were all quarantining and isolating, I realized very quickly that I needed something to do. So I went to Michael's, which is a craft store by where I'm from, and I found a adult paint by numbers. It was not quite the same style as this one below me is. It was a flat, like a simple canvas, whereas this is actually like a 3D, like it has like this much edge on the side canvas. So I started with that in January, and I have never looked back. So since then, I think I have done, probably 10 to 12 paint by numbers, I'm pretty sure. They range from like beautiful, like Greek houses in the mountains, beach scenes, like a Arizona red dirt mountain. I'm just trying to think through the house. I hang up my art, so I'm going room by room. I done like potted flowers, like a city skyline. There's a bunch. So this piece below me is actually a different type of paint by number set, also from Michael's, where you get two canvases that are a bit smaller than the traditional paint by number, and they go next to each other. So I am actually working now. This below me is the second piece, where the first piece goes over here on the left for me anyway. It is a canvas piece, and it is a large tree with some water, and this side, which I don't think you can fully see just based because you're upside down, is going to be a very large and lush tree with multicolored leaves. So over here we have like the autumnal reds and orange and yellow, and as we get further into the tree, it becomes more like green and blue, which is very pretty. So I wanted to do some painting tonight anyway, so I thought I might just bring you along with me to do a little bit. If you are a person who enjoys painting or crocheting or knitting or any other type of pleasant and relaxing hobby, I encourage you to do it along with me while you watch the video while I make the video. So with that all being said, the canvas voice is a little uneven, so you might hear it shift a little bit as I go. Let's get started. Very pretty. Okay, so I think I'm gonna just start by painting down in this corner over here because it's easy for me to access in this setup. And it has some nice big sections that you'll be able to actually see that I did something. That is the thing with these paint by numbers, is a lot of the sections are so small that I feel like I can paint for like an hour and only get like this much of a section done. And that's kind of the joy in it. It's not about rushing to the finish line, it's about enjoying the journey. That's incredibly deep of me to say about paint by number, but you get what I mean. Okay, so I think I will start over here. So I just have my paints over on the side here, which you can see. They're all numbered, as you would expect for a paint by number. And I'm just going to move them off to the side and pick up the ones I need. And based on the size of the areas I'm going to paint, I think these two brushes will probably be good. So this is quite small, but this one's even smaller. So these are brushes that I've collected through doing these kits over the past almost like over a year. So yeah, that is what we'll use, and it should be good to go. So I think I'm just going to jump right in and start painting. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be chatting throughout, but I hope you enjoy, and I hope you're able to join me if this is something that you enjoy doing too. It's nice to set aside time to do your hobbies. Okay, so if I'm looking close, I don't think you guys can see the numbers. It's pretty blown out for you, but right along here is number 10. So let's move aside our paint that we don't need, and let's start. So to begin, I will be using number 10. I don't have my long nails on today, so my tapping's not going to be A game anymore, sorry. But nonetheless, we will open this up and we will get to painting. Okay, I think you can see perfect, so I will just be filling this in and chatting. So I don't know about you guys or anything, but when we were about 6 months or so into, or even longer actually, into the pandemic, so it started in March 2020, which is something I think very few people are going to forget. I filled a lot of my initial time with like relaxation and catching up on like personal admin things, so I was able to. So at the time I was still working as a nurse, so I was working at like a private oral surgery clinic, and I was previously, before the pandemic started, full time, so Monday to Friday for 8 hours a day, which is a really good gig for nurses because in most settings for nurses, you're doing shift work, which means you're doing either 8 or 12-hour shifts. The 12-hour ones are really long, and you're often working evenings, nights, and weekends especially. So I was very fortunate to have a Monday to Friday nursing job. Oh, that's loud. I was very fortunate to have a Monday to Friday nursing job pretty early into my career. So while I was doing that when the pandemic started, I got put down to part-time. In the meantime, I'm moving on to number 9 now, which looks very similar, to fill in more shapes. So I went from 40 hours a week to 20 or less hours a week, which actually was kind of nice at that time. I had just pretty recently moved into a new apartment with my boyfriend at the time, my now fiance, and we were spending a lot of time like trying to get the apartment organized and set up. So we were able to spend a lot of quality time together, like hanging out. We played, oh god, I think like an embarrassing number of hours of Stardew Valley, which is a game that we both really love. If you are a person who likes like it's relaxing but it's also kind of engaging, like farming games, gosh, I cannot recommend Stardew Valley more. I wish I could play Stardew Valley for the first time again. That's how good it was. So we did that a lot. We played a lot of a game called Civilization 6 as well, which is like a kind of like the board game Risk but turned into like a video game. So we played that, which was really fun. And in my spare time, when I'm not doing this now, I really enjoy baking. So I was doing a lot of baking, just like everyone else during the pandemic, making bread and bagels and cakes and cookies and all these things that I probably didn't need to be making, but I was still going into the office so I could bring them in with me, so my partner and I didn't have them all to ourselves. So that was kind of how I spent my time for the first, like, oh gosh, like the entire most of 2020 when the pandemic hit. And then I quickly realized, like, as the pandemic was obviously not going away, I was like, uh-oh, these things that I'm enjoying doing are running out, and I'm going to need to get creative with what I do with my time. So that is how I came to the conclusion of doing some painting. And I wouldn't say that I'm objectively a creative person, though I don't think you need to be a like creative person to do any sort of art form at all. You just need to have the passion and drive to start it, which is honestly the hardest part, in my opinion, to start things. So yeah, I was a little like hard on myself when I started, I think, because I was like, oh well, I went to school and I did sciences the whole way through. I did AP math and all that stuff. I never ever took an art class, which upon reflection I wish I had. I think it would have been really good for me. But so I was like, oh well, you know, like I just don't know what I enjoy doing that's like a classic art kind of thing. I just don't know. So my boyfriend was like, well, why don't you just try like a paint by number, because you know it's incredibly low stakes. I don't need to have some creative vision to complete this task. I just need to have the willpower and desire to sit down and look at the tiny numbers and then fill in the colors as best as I can, which is literally all that paint by numbers are. So I was like, yeah, you know what, you're right, that's a really good idea. So that is what I did in early January. I got my first one and I sat myself down at my then desk, which we had a super small apartment, so it was literally, my work desk was like in the entrance hallway right by our kitchen. I sat myself down there and I just painted, and I painted and painted and painted. And I think the first night that I started, I did like 3.5 hours straight of painting. I had a terrible setup. It was like a flatter painting than this, and my chair was super low, so I was like heavily hunched over. I remember when I like finally like came to out of this like 3-hour painting like extravaganza, I was like, oh my god, what have I done to my neck? I hadn't realized that I had like really kind of like crunched my shoulders and really bent over my neck. So it was a good lesson learned that, I mean, I liked it, which is fantastic, 'cause I'm kind of one of those people who's quick to quit on things that I don't immediately like, which is not a great trait. I'm trying to work on that. about ergonomics altogether. But two, like, it was a good warning for me to be like, hey, you're not doing this to like rush, like you're not doing this to speed through the task. It's not about completion, it's about like enjoying doing it, like having some nice music on, listening to a podcast, doing this now where I'm rambling about myself. You know, like there's ways to, there are things in life like hobbies and passions that are just for enjoying, not for completing, which I know shouldn't be that revolutionary of a thing to say. Like, I'm sure lots of people know that already, but just the way that I was raised and how I had gotten through university especially was just like creating task lists in my mind and then going like, okay, well, we finished task A, let's move to task B as quickly and efficiently as we can. So I think in some ways the pandemic really forced me to slow down, which is not inherently a bad thing. I'm working on as well, as I'm doing more of these fun ASMR videos, which I'm really enjoying making. I am realizing how fast I talk. I've always been told since I was a kid that I am a quick speaker. I've never, thankfully, had too much issue with people understanding me because I think I've been able, like, I trained myself to enunciate quite clearly. But that being said, I definitely speak faster than I should. I don't like it when I overwhelm people with information too quickly. And when I was working as a nurse, I definitely found it difficult to turn off my brain and, you know, speak slower and clearer for patients who needed that. So that was never very fun. Sorry, trying to close the paint without it being too loud. So it's definitely been something as I've been editing these videos and listening to me talk that I'm like, oh geez, I am like talking a mile a minute. And some of my favorite ASMR creators are so good, like so good at speaking slowly, but like not in like an annoying or like obvious way, if that makes sense. Like, I think one of my favorite ASMR creators of all time is Fairy Shar ASMR. I absolutely love her. I've been listening to her for, oh god, like years. I think when I first got into ASMR, back when I was in university, like my first year or two of university, I watched her videos like almost every day. But she has such an amazing talent for talking in this like very slow and relaxing way, but it doesn't feel like she's like forcing it, if that makes sense. And maybe that's just me because of how I find myself speaking on a day-to-day, that when I try to slow myself down to be more like relaxing and soothing, I feel like I'm forcing it to make, like, to sound good, if that makes sense. Like, I'm really forcing myself to do it, whereas she has these like amazing like pauses, and like the way that she speaks is like almost hypnotic. Honestly, it's fantastic. I cannot recommend checking out Fairy Shar ASMR more. I think she might be one of my favorites of, oh, she is one of my favorites of all time, if not like in my top 2 most viewed ASMR content creators of all time. So I'd highly recommend checking her out. But she is teaching me, as well as when I watch like other creators who've been very successful over time, that it's okay to slow down. It is okay to speak slower. It is okay to enjoy doing something or creating something and not be rushing trying to finish it, which I think is hard for me to understand at a like in the pots, like this looks lighter and darker and darker, but then when you paint with them, sometimes I think they look a bit more similar than I wish they did, but sometimes they dry different, so it's okay. So I think I'm just gonna keep going in this section because I'm making good time. But yeah, these are the deep life lessons that I have learned through the pandemic and through watching ASMR. But yeah, this is, I mean, I've wanted to be making ASMR content for years, so I felt like I found out about this community back in like 2016, 2017, I want to say. I don't have an exact date. And I fell in love with ASMR like so quickly. I went from not having ever heard of it to like using it every day for my naps after clinical for school or for falling asleep at night if I was alone. So it like really took off, like my love and interest in it like really took off aggressively. And I actually have a video that I filmed in my old university house back in, oh gosh, 2018 maybe, of me doing my first ever ASMR video. And it's me talking about and trying on my favorite lipsticks that I had at the time, because during university I was a huge lipstick fan, like not like wearing like a nude lip to school or anything. Like I would go to a party wearing navy blue liquid lipstick or like crocodile green, like I was really going for it. So I made a video at the time where I talk about them, and maybe as this channel grows that could be something I could eventually edit together and show off, because it is very cringy. Not that like my content now is incredibly professional or like well put together because I'm so new, but even just this past like 2 months of creating semi-regular content compared to that one single video, it's a little eye-opening. I mean, and also I was like 23 or so years old, 24 when I made that, so I was a lot younger as well. So yeah, maybe that's something I can explore looking into later. But yeah, I made this channel at that time, so I think this channel actually is officially like starting date is in 2018. But I never uploaded anything because I got too busy with school, and I also was younger and more self-conscious, and I was like, oh well, I don't want to upload anything if it's not like perfect. Which like, it's never going to be perfect. And I'm doing better about not comparing my content, which is very novice, to ASMR artists who I have loved over the past years, like GB ASMR, Very Sharp ASMR, Maya Ling ASMR makes some of the most high quality video content I've ever seen, let alone ASMR. Like, it's ridiculous. And I just need to remember that, one, this is for fun, which it totally is. I love making these videos. And two, I don't do this for a living. This is, again, it's just for fun. It's a hobby that I'm experimenting with because I want to get better at video stuff. And that's okay. It's okay to have things in your life that are just for fun. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the comments that I am getting from my new subscribers recently. I feel like recently I've had a little bit of a growth on the channel, and it has just been so lovely to have your guys' kind words. I can't even like explain how nice it is. I woke up yesterday morning to like 3 incredibly like thoughtful and kind comments, just encouraging me to keep going and talking about how you like my voice or you find it soothing. And I like never even thought that like 3 people would find these videos, let alone like over 60, which is happening now. So I just want to say a huge thank you to anyone who is regularly watching my content, anyone who is subscribed, and anyone who is kind enough to leave thoughtful and like encouraging comments. Like, I really, really appreciate it. It's been so accepting and warm. I was telling my partner just about how, you know, when I look at YouTube comments on some of the channels that I watch, you can see some, like, honestly, a lot of times you see nice comments from really nice people, but not all of them are that way. And I think especially in certain spaces, like in gaming and in like the beauty YouTube comments, you can get some really like harsh and like unkind comments more regularly. And not that I ever thought that'd be a huge issue for something like my small channel, but I definitely think I was a little afraid to have people see my content and be able to talk about it and discuss it and like leave me like live comments. So I was definitely hesitated a little bit when I wanted to start this, and I think I pushed it back a little bit because of that. And I almost wish I hadn't done that, because like every piece of feedback that I've gotten so far from anyone who has watched my content or subscribed has just been like out of this world kind. Like I didn't know that the ASMR community is like incredibly like warm and fuzzy and nice and everything, but I didn't think that as like a super small creator like I am, that I would ever get as much support as I already have for as little time as I've been doing this. So again, if you are kind enough to have left a comment, or you like my videos, or you even just watch one of my videos, I just want to say thank you. That is such a kind thing to do, to spend your life, like time and energy, and you know, like time is one of our most valuable resources, and to spend any time with my small little channel, it just means so much to me. So thank you. And I promise I'll stop being so sappy now, because it's all good. But I just think one of the skills that I think is super important to practice. Oh, sorry, I bumped you there. One of the skills that is super important to practice on a regular basis is appreciation in work, in your personal life, in your romantic life, with family, with friends. And I think you can never be too appreciative, or you can never say like enough kind words about people who make a difference in your life. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, as I continue to figure out what I want to do with this channel, I'm hoping to be able to make more videos on a pretty regular basis. Right now, with my workload, I've been able to upload almost every single day, I think actually like every single day, for like a couple weeks, and I'm hoping to be able to keep that up for the near future, with some changes possibly happening as I, explore more involved video ideas and role plays and things like that. But as right now, while I'm in such a like growth and like early development phase, I'm enjoying making videos. I'm not burning myself out in the process of doing it this often. If anything, I feel like it's currently like helping me stay motivated and stay like curious and interested into what I can do, which is awesome. So I'll keep you updated if I decide to change my uploading schedule, but for now, I think this is gonna be what I'm gonna try to stick to for at least the next couple weeks. But again, I am a small baby channel, and if I change my mind, I can change my mind. And that's all that matters. So, but yeah, I think like so far this, like the past couple weeks of creating YouTube content, like an ASMR content in the evenings or on the weekends, has been like very fulfilling. I've honestly really enjoyed it. iMovies, which is just to dump the video file into iMovie on my phone and make some quick cuts and call it a day. He does very intense, very professional editing, and I've always wanted to like dip my toes into editing, because I think video is such an important part of like modern communication. But at the same time, like Adobe After Effects and like Premiere and stuff really stress me out. I don't know what it is, but like those programs just like do not make sense to my brain. Like, Godspeed to all the people who like can learn them quite quickly and like have been able to make like very interesting videos and content as a result of it, but like that ain't me, sis. So I think just having something like this where I only ever have one camera, I can just make like linear cuts in iMovie and then move on, has just been like a really nice like baby step into video creation, which is eventually something I would like to be able to explore more aggressively as I develop skills. But it is just nice to have like a low pressure, low stakes, easy way to start. Because I just feel like, especially with like projects and stuff that are so tech oriented or like software dependent, if you get what I'm saying, it can be really overwhelming to start. And like that's definitely what I found, is I'm like, oh yeah, no, I totally want to know how to use Photoshop, and then I open it and I'm like, actually I have no desire to learn any of this. I want to be able to Photoshop images, but I do not want to learn how to use Photoshop, if that makes sense. So I think by like attaching like a fun and like whimsical self-project to learning, I have definitely broke down some barriers for myself about how like hard and unfun video editing can be, because I think I'm definitely starting to enjoy it a bit more now. And again, that's me saying I'm starting to enjoy it, as in I'm doing like the bare minimum possible for video editing. I'm not doing anything fancy, but honestly, for me, that's a win, so we'll take it. So I'm just finishing up this like very large section of yellow here. I think this part is like a reflection of the tree. So this is the tree up here. It's upside down for you, I apologize, but this is the tree up here. And then I think this down here is the lake reflection of the colors. So yes, as I keep going, I'm sure that will become more apparent. But if you guys like this type of video where I'm just chatting and rambling and working on a project like this, let me know, because I feel like this could be a really fun idea for like semi-regular content, as well as maybe eventually down the line I kind of want to flirt with the idea of doing a live ASMR video to get to know me or something, maybe when we hit a certain subscriber milestone or something, if we ever get there. But let me know if this is what you like, or if you'd rather I focus on like specific triggers or role plays or things like that. Let me know, because my channel is so small that I see all of your comments that I get. So if you are really passionate about a particular trigger or like roleplay idea or anything like that, let me know, and I might be able to make your dreams a reality pretty easily, to be honest, because again, I don't have that big of a following base, so every comment I read and respond to. So an option for those who want to get involved a bit more with the channel. So there you go. Okay, so that's a nice big section. I think I will finish this inner part and then call it a day. You can see I've been painting a bit slower than I normally would, because I've been chatting so much. But at the same time, like, I haven't been going that slow. It's been over half an hour, and I've done like so little. But that's part of the fun. It's part of the fun to know that these projects like take time, and but then at the end you get to see like a beautiful piece of art, which is really fun. So colors here, and then I am going to be done painting for the day. I don't know where any of my subscribers are from, but where I am from, which is in Alberta on the west side, Alberta on the west side, Canada on the west side in Alberta is what I mean to say. It is incredibly cold right now. You might be able to hear cars kind of going by outside, and you can hear them like scraping along. It is like this morning, it was negative 32 degrees Celsius, which is crazy. And then later, like in the middle of the day, it warmed up to a warm negative 29 degrees Celsius. So really got lucky with that one. So I don't know why this cold streak has come in so aggressively, like out of nowhere. We had like the warmest October ever, but holy moly, is it ever cold. So I am, like, you can't see because of the angle, but I'm wearing a toque. I'm wearing a shirt underneath my sweater. I have warm fuzzy pants and warm fuzzy socks on, and I'm just trying to stay warm. And I am, this week for my real job, I have a conference where I will be out like meeting up with clients and doing stuff at a conference hall, and I have to wear business clothes, and I am going to absolutely freeze. I'm gonna have to wear like a massive down jacket on top of my blazer until I'm inside, which is never very fun, but you know what? You need to stay warm first and foremost, because there's nothing worse than being cold at work and then being like, well, I can't do anything about it because I wasn't prepared. So I will have to bring layers upon layers and just pile them on when I can, and then take them off when I need to be professional. So wish me luck for that. I think the way that I had the schedule going, I think I will have done all of that before I even upload this, but wish me luck anyways. We are just finishing up this like big blob section, so I think, yeah, it's pretty, I think as I can tell from here, it looks pretty obvious that this is like a reflection in the water, which is really pretty. I always kind of am blown away by how paint by numbers and other sort of like painting like aid type things like that are able to like break down paintings and colors into like chunks, if you know what I mean. So like, oh, just paint this section this color, and when you finish all that up, it's just gonna look like you did like a really nice reflection without me having to actually like think about like, what colors do I need to do that. So I appreciate that, because my personal color theory is like atrocious. I have a really hard time like making colors make sense. So, and color theory is incredibly hard. If anyone ever tells you that color theory is easy, they're lying. So just 2 more colors to go here, and just doing number 21 in here, a nice like coppery red, which is pretty. And then I just have 1 more color, which is number 27, which I don't actually know what color that is yet. I'll have to look. Oh, it's not red, it's actually a navy blue, so that's pretty. So yeah, this is the last color I'm gonna do in this section. Number 27 is like a pretty navy blue. So there we go. I'm gonna do these 2 sections and then call it a day, I think. I try not to, like I mentioned before, when I would overdo it, like the first times I painted, I try to just do it for a little bit and then give myself permission to take a break. Because it can be addicting to like keep going, but you don't always need to like power through everything. So there we go. The pretty color. I think the blue part of this is actually a reflection for the other half of the painting that I mentioned earlier that I've already completed, because it has a lot of blue in it. So I imagine that's where this is coming from, because the painting like matches up on this side here. So that would make sense. So that would be really pretty. I'm excited to put them together. I can finish them, I could share a photo so you can see my progress if you are interested. But there we go. Look at that. That looks fantastic. Okay. Alrighty, so I am going to be done with painting today. We were able to get this big section here done, which is really awesome. I think it looks really good. If you like this type of video or want to join me next time that I do a painting one, let me know and we can get that set up. How fun would that be to have like a regular time painting time if anyone's interested? But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a hobby that you are participating in as we get into the cooler months in the